This is Blythe Baines, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.
Today is June 16th, a day after the passing of little Dr. Gonzo. What you're about to hear, at least this beginning segment, was done on June 10th. In fact, I believe all the segments on here were done on between June 10th and 11. And as you know about this podcast, it just bounces back and forth between different days, and there's no real linearity unless I say what the date or time is. So I just thought I'd let you know. And by the way, thank you for listening. Thank you so much for listening. So I'm on the way back from another pet store with, I think, different food items on the shelves. So I've picked up some new items, some new cat food, new cat treats that are soft, chewy. Any of you who have an animal, you know what that's like. You know what that's like. What's the best food for my dog? Some of us, we buy just the cheapest. Some of us buy the most expensive. And then you just don't know who is lying and who's actually telling the truth. Who's got the better marketing campaign? Who's got the flashier, more vibrant packaging? And who's got the real actual, the goods? Is it simply just clever marketing? And that's why it's more expensive? It's funny, a lot of times we hear, well, things that are more quality, they're made more quality, are the things that are more expensive. We always hear about that. You get what you pay for. And then when you go to review, you go look up reviews for particular cat foods and whatnot, you don't know who's a paid Amazon reviewer. You don't know who's a paid Amazon reviewer, and you don't know who is writing a review just out of spite. Maybe they own a cat food company, and they're like, okay, the only way to bring down the competition is if I write a whole series of terrible reviews through different aliases. Sometimes these profiles don't have pictures. In fact, I don't think my Amazon account has pictures. It probably would just be one of those empty non-player character profile pictures if you were to see a review for me on Amazon. And then especially when people go so in depth on a review, you wonder, it's like, you wonder, did the company pay them to write about these specific talking points? They're like, look, you write the review how you want. We're going to pay you. Write it how you want. We're going to give you the talking points. And then, bam, that's all you do. It's interesting with my sister Jenny and her unboxing of her shoes. We call them the blueberry slushy from the Wise Finger Lab store. Once she got those in the mail, and she didn't even know she was getting them in the mail. We ordered them as secret. Samantha ordered them as secret. I snuck in. Jenny was gone. I looked around at her shoes. I'm like, okay, what's her shoe size? Couldn't raise any suspicion. Ended up finding it out, giving it to Samantha. She ordered the shoes, and so these things show up, and I'm like, Jenny, we're doing an unboxing. And what was beautiful was they were all just honest reactions. Pure, authentic, honest reactions. Pure, authentic. She wasn't trying to act. She wasn't trying to make us believe that this was something we needed in our life. Hi, kitties. She was honest. She was earnest, pure, and true. And it worked out well. We are home now. Oh my gosh, I gotta get this mask off. Talk to you later. 6:23 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. The 11th. It's the 11th. The 11th. The 11th. Wow. I have to say, this is, and I want to tell you this, I got to preface this saying, I'm not trying to tell you this to sound like a hotshot, not trying to sound like, oh, look at this guy, what's he telling us about? I'm telling it to you out of being astonished, okay, just out of pure astonishment. I checked for the 8th, June 8th, apparently, I had 888 listens all across the podcasts I got, which is, I think I got 400 and something now. So that's at least 2 listens per podcast. But the point is, it was on the 8th, June 8th, 888. That's 4 infinities right there, ladies and gentlemen. 4 infinities. As some of you know, I am just enamored with infinity. I am enamored with our connection to the universe as we know it, and how to better enhance that connection with the universe. And I'm sure been a lot of times you listen to the podcast, long-time listeners, you're like, dude, Kurt, you're such a crybaby. Come on. You're not applying the knowledge that you're claiming to know. You're teaching us this knowledge, and then what? Are you applying it? Well, that's why I'm glad that I'm putting this all down, so I can actually be accountable to that. I want to be accountable to following through with, practicing what I preach, basically. Wow, this is just nuts, man. So Samantha, from Wisefinger Lab, she just got her phone case in the mail. It's a photograph that she took of, she took some really cool photos when she was out in Italy. And so she made a series called the Float series. And it's really cool. So cool. So the little girl, she's swimming underwater. Samantha got that phone case in the mail. She did an unboxing. And so we're encouraging anyone who gets Wisefinger products to do an unboxing. And then email it to us. And then we'll put it on our social networks. We'll put it up there. Right now we got my sister and we got Samantha. Now I'm going to purchase something now that I finally got my unemployment check. First of all, I'm paying back my rent. That's one thing you guys have heard me talk about. So now look at this, guys. Look at this, guys. It has come full circle. You might remember the podcast where I'm going, what's going on here? What's going on here? Am I going to be able to pay my rent? What is my landlord going to say about this? What's going to happen if there's no income? How do you pay when you got no income? So I applied for unemployment way back in March. And I just slowly chiseled away. I had like $200. I just slowly chiseled it. My good sister Jenny was so good. She got her unemployment checks. So she was really good. She was feeding me. She's paying her half of the rent. I was not paying mine. I had enough money to get me coffee, eggs, bread, peanut butter, jelly. The stuff that keeps you rocking and rolling. The food of many artists out there. Many struggling. I don't want to say I'm struggling. Struggling? That just sounds so what's the word I'm thinking of? Desperate, doesn't it? It sounds so very desperate. It sounds so very, what oh gosh, well, what's going on? So the interesting thing is, this is an interesting thing. My past self, a lot of times I talk about the reasons why I do this podcast is because I'm leaving messages for my future self to listen to. So this is the the diary. This is the journal. So all this stuff is, information for that guy, that future self of me who may or may not have forgotten most of the ideas and philosophies and adventures and conversations I've had during this time. I feel like I have really hit my stride. Another stride. I think we all go through many points in our lives where we, if we allow ourselves to be the best version of ourselves and we get out of the way of ourselves and we let the pure waves of potential, of cosmic potential just flow through us. When we let that happen, we get very surprised. We start seeing astonishing things. The vibes I'm feeling now are reminiscent of the vibes I was feeling when I was going to Columbia College, and I was just constantly productive. And just play after play, just doing it. And not busy to stay busy. I mean, yeah, it was busyness. But it was busyness doing what I absolutely enjoyed, which was being in plays, inhabiting characters, attempting to memorize the lines written by playwrights on the page, being in improv groups, drawing a lot, just all that great stuff. All that great stuff that comes from diving deep. So, this vibe that I'm feeling right now, this kind of proficiency. It's a cross between being prolific and efficient. Prolificiency, there it is. That's how you can say it. So that kind of productivity during that time. That's what I'm feeling right now with Wisefinger stuff. Wisefinger Lab. Holy cow, it might as well be a college. So check out those. I'm still editing the unboxing by Samantha. That's going to be another minute long. I just put up. I've been putting up like 15-second Wisefinger promotions on the story. Those are pretty easy, pretty fast. I was really surprised. I don't know if I said this or not, but there were about 15 responses to, because I like to do a question or something like that, and then the responses, then I like to make a video basically speaking directly to that person. Let Wisefinger speak directly to that person. And so far I've gotten through 6 of them. I've been trying to do like 3 at a time, little 15-second giblets. Boop, 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 boop. So there's still more coming. If you answer that question, which is now 3 or 4 days old, you're going to be getting your answer. The question was, and there was multiple choice. What was it? What will you come back in your next life as? And I think one of them was Redwood Forest, The Shadows, thought clouds, and then wise finger. Those were the 4 choices. And I got most of the response. I got one person, YoVD podcast. She, so YoVD actually is running our promos on her podcast right now. Go check her out. She's very helpful. We had a wonderful interview with her. And then we'll let you know when that gets uploaded. So YoVD answered Wisefinger. She's the only one that answered Wisefinger. And then we had 2 thought clouds, 1 redwood forest, and what does that leave? And then the rest were people who said the shadows. There might be 3 thought clouds. Anyway, it's really interesting just to see what people answer, and to see well, first of all, to see who answers, then to see what those answers are. Just tickles me to see people playing along. And then what's fun, they all get to know each other. Gentile Waves, thank you so much, by the way, for sending us that picture of you with your Obvi tote bag. That was a lot of fun to put up on the internet. Oh my gosh, this is an amazing car I'm looking at right here. It's got it looks like the Michael Jackson jacket. There are like all these diamonds. Very shiny car, very shiny all over the place. Oh my god, the women who are stepping out of it are all wearing like glittery. It's like diamonds, glittery. All right, we're about to enter Ralph's here. I'm going to pick up some various things, and we'll talk more later. That guy is named Kurt Schwitters. I came across him. He's speaking gibberish, by the way. He's speaking gibberish. He would put out albums that were all gibberish. Just gibberish. I'd listen to him all the time. I came across Kurt Schwitters through a magazine, a catalog called WFMU. And in this WFMU catalog, you could order just the coolest. They just had all kinds of just wonderful stuff in there. Oh. And so they would have all these just really obscure music and just spoken word stuff, kick-ass stuff. So it's through. So I saw the what do you call it? The description for this Kurt Schwitters CD, and I was just like, I've got to get that. I gotta get that. And it's just all gibberish, which is probably, now that I think about, what inspired me to want to really, it inspired my gibberish nature. So to hear something that had been invented, and created a long time ago, and then to realize, oh my gosh, that's something I enjoy doing too. That was a lot of fun to discover that. And then once I got the album and listened to it, it was just like, it's like the rhythm of it. Samantha and I were talking about this the other day. Some people listen to the music, some people listen to the words, some people just feel the melody, and then other people just listen for the words. And I haven't listened to words in songs through the years. I've just listened to the music. So maybe that's something I'll do. I'll start listening to words more often. But the crazy thing is, it's just a rhythm. It's like a song. That's all it is. It's so funny because you strip it all away, strip out the meaning, And it's just vibrations, it's stuff moving along. So you could hear that lady in the back. I don't know who she is or what she's saying. I talked to Alexa. I had to come in here because I didn't want Alexa to hear me say her name. So Alexa, I thought, oh my God, this would be so funny to see if Kurt Schwitters was on there. And sure enough, he was. Sure enough. It was such a funny... I dare her to find certain artists out there. She's really good. She'll find them. Gosh, that's crazy. The other thing I got through WFMU, and it's a radio station out in New Jersey. It's a radio station out there in New Jersey. Independent. It reminds me of 93.1 XRT in Chicago. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that. But it's like I think it's like a college radio. And so they discontinued the catalog, unfortunately. However, that's where I got the Beat Generation box set. There's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 CDs in there. It had great poetry by Allen Ginsberg. Awesome little, just awesome stuff with Del Close and we'd hear Kerouac in there. Gosh, there's just a lot of interviews with people about what the Beat Generation is. Like, just you hear the recordings that were on the radio back then and how they tried to grasp this concept. It's interesting when you look at the certain fads, the certain things that have been out there through the years, and the certain things that have stuck, too. Once there's a fad, once people start seeing there's interest in it, then they can capitalize on it. Then the politicians can capitalize on it. Then, people can... reminds me of this interesting line in Ozark I was watching where, oh gosh, it'll come to me. Jason Bateman's wife, what's her name? Her name in the show. So she did like political work and stuff, and she said there's a saying in politics: never let a good tragedy go to waste. So this is why we'll see a lot of these crisis actors at a lot of these different events. And you're going, hey, wait a second. That lady's claiming to be this guy's teacher. So here's a lady at this funeral saying she was a second grade teacher. And then there's that same lady talking about her son shot at a nightclub. And then there's that same lady who's just weirdly at the Boston Marathon. And then strangely, somehow she's over there talking to the news at Sandy Hook. Who is this lady? Why do they keep getting her in front of the camera? And why is she always, There's some of those people out there. It's funny. When you dive deep, I won't make any claims or anything, but as you know, I like to live on the fringe. I like to, okay, where does this rabbit hole go? Where does we research this particular company, and then you're like, oh, that's where that goes, huh? I wonder how many people out there in the world know about that aspect. I wonder how many people have taken a look at this before. And you wonder, is this just going to get lost in is it just going to get lost in the shuffle? Like, what is Secure Act Blue? What's Act Blue Charities? What is that? Who owns that? Who do they fund? They're just, just really, I can't ignore, I think it's the detective in me. I love Sherlock Holmes. I love mystery novels. I love spy stuff. I would not consider myself a political guy at all, by any means. I consider myself a satirist, perhaps. I just realized, that's what I've been this whole time. A parody artist, satirist. Other things, of course. But I look at what's like I just had this vision in my brain earlier, like, okay, what if, so we say with such certainty what's going on in the world based on the news that we're all watching. So then the people who like this political party are watching these news channels. Those news channels are giving them this information. These people who are watching these news channels, those news channels are giving them these information. Then when you go down the rabbit hole, who owns these news channels? Who are the people that own these news channels? Who are they affiliated with? What do they do? Who are their close friends, their associates, their donors? Who are those people? And do those people have any say in the kind of messages that are being put out there? It's interesting. Like I co-organize Kapow Intergalactic Film Festival, and so all anybody sees out there is the information that I'm giving them. They don't know what affiliations I have, what associates I have, who's making donations, what, anyone who's a sponsor of Kapow, I put them up on the board, It's possible in situations with events that maybe some of those sponsors want to be silent partners, and maybe they have, what if they have nefarious affiliations? I'm talking human being affiliate, just human being. Like this phrase popped in my brain. This information. It popped in my brain where I was looking at these vegetables, and they were showing the various fruits that coincide with various organs. And what's good for what organ, and how strange it is that these particular foods are good for these particular organs of the body. It's interesting when we see how plants so very closely relate to humans. And when we look at the xylem and the phloem of a plant, when we look at the arteries and the veins of a human, we're just living plants. So really, if we look at like the core of the issue is our best life matters. It's funny. And what does matter mean? What is something that's matter? Matter is something that's here that we see in front of us. Bashar was talking about it's not what you see it. I'll see it and then I'll believe it. It's believing it and then seeing it. Belief is what matters. It matters. Like it actually matters. It turns into matter. Our belief turns into matter. Matter. And then it's funny when you play that word matter, belief matters. So that's funny. So folks who are deep in beliefs, they're very mad. And what's that doing? That's turning something into matter. So if someone believes something, they feel really good about it. Oh, I feel so good about this Donovan song that I'm listening to. Oh, man. Oof. Oof. I believe Laurel Canyon was just oof. Oof. Yikes. I believe it was just the best. Ooh, so good. So good. I believe that if I were on Laurel Canyon and I were to make music, I would have some astonishing albums. So it's that belief that matters. And someone could actually just go up on there in Laurel Canyon and actually create that, and there we go. Now, and that's a good way of one would say positive way of utilizing the belief. Belief matters. Believing is seeing. Believing is seeing. Believing is seeing. Believing is seeing. It's funny, we hear that sometimes people don't listen until you yell or you destroy stuff. There's an interesting study. You guys probably know about it. If you saw The Secret, or I think it was in What the Bleep Do We Know? Well, they did prayer, and these people all sat down. They prayed, and then it brought the crime levels down in Washington, D.C. And so I'm wondering, where are those right now at this moment in time? The idea is to be the best, be our best life, to be the best version of ourselves, to touch the source energy, to be swimming and involved with the all that is, the source energy, the thing that just makes us feel great. The stuff that astonishes us. The stuff that then begets more astonishment. It's a cycle. It just keeps giving birth. More, 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 more. Here's more, here's more, here's more. Here's more, here's more, here's more. The apple falls from the tree. The tree grew the apple. The tree grew from the apple. What kind of dirt? What kind of nutrients? What kind of soil was that tree planted in? Were those original seeds planted in? What kind of soil? What kind of soil? The soil. That's why they got stuff like Miracle Grow and stuff like that. Some scientists, they've hacked what's going to feed that, what's going to help enhance that, encourage that. It's so interesting. The underlining thing is, when you look at like sports games, laughing yoga, things that may be violent, things that are peaceful, the thing that is the subconscious thing that is uniting all these things is the idea that, so if I were to look at the elements of what really these things are composed of, I'd say one of them is the idea that there are other people to share this belief with. There are other people to share this vibe with. There are other people who understand this vibe, people that you can feel safe to do this particular stuff in front of. People who bring you out of your best element, one might think. It's that vibe that's being shared there. So it starts with the one. It starts with the one person going, hey, you know what? I like Red Hot Chili Peppers. And then they start looking online for Red Hot Chili Peppers, Facebook groups, meetups, anything where they can meet other Red Hot Chili Peppers fans, so they could talk about all the intricacies of Flea's bass lines. So they can talk about Anthony Kiedis's crazy under the bridge past, where they could talk about Dave Navarro toggling between Jane's Addiction and Them, and then talking about John Frusciante and what's he up to these days. And do you know about his side albums, his side projects? So there's that, wow. And then what's another element? Investigation. So let's say, for instance, we use the Red Hot Chili Peppers analogy. RHCP. Yeah. It's so funny. I would call them the Riho Chai Peps, just to amuse myself. Instead of chili peppers, or the Red Hot Chilies, I would just call them the Riho Chai Peps. Just a little, just the first two letters, the Riho Chai Peps. So, what's another thing is going down that rabbit hole, the intricacies. Just like with a sports game, people go down the intricacies, I almost said SATs, the stats, the RBIs, how many swings did this guy, how many swings did this guy have throughout the year? And then how many of those swings were home runs? Or how many of those turned into foul balls? All those little tiny things. And then people are like, well, if Wayne Garvey would have just thrown it here, and if they would have had Robert Clendenin on the Oh, look at, that hummingbird. Man, I love it. Hi, little hummingbird. Oh my gosh, there's that hummingbird again. I believe you've been, I believe I've been on the podcast before when that hummingbird has come past the window. I believe we've spent, yep, there he is again. Oh my God. It's so crazy. I keep seeing this little hummingbird around. I just got to get a hummingbird feeder. I just gots to. You know, getting into being the best version of ourselves. Experimenting with stuff. Oh, I want to see more hummingbirds. Okay, bam. How do you enhance your life? How do you enhance your own particular reality? How do we do it without throwing bricks through windows? How do we do it without screaming and yelling? How do we do it with, what do you replace it with? What am I going to replace my screaming and yelling with? What if I replace it with the talents that I have, the passions that I have, the investigations that I love? We love the investigations. We love the connection. Isn't that funny? So deep in our mind, so we love the revelations. We love the epiphanies. We love it when there's that, I got this question. And then, all of a sudden, here's the answer. And then the bridge is connected. We love connecting those bridges. Bridges are constructed, not destructed. I don't think you have to blow up a bridge to make a new one. You just build upon what was there, can't you? Can't you just do that? You do that all the time. Your car gets into an accident. Oh, someone smashed out my tail light. Got to go buy a new car. Well, wait, no, dude. Just replace the light. My fender's got a big dent in it now. Great. That kid next door with the baseball. Man, I told him. There it is. And then, okay, wait, great. Now I got to get a whole new car. Oh, great. Then my insurance rates are going to go up, and then now I got to get a whole thing, and blah, blah, blah. Or just replace the thing. And so we can construct those connections. So it's funny that deep inside we want those connections. And then that extends, what goes on in the inside goes on the outside. So that extends then into our environment and the people that we're spending time with. What people are in our immediate environment, and what are we being influenced by with the media and books that we're reading. Media we're watching, books we're reading, music we're listening to. Jared Leto was away on a silent retreat. You probably heard about this. He was away, I think it was a week. He was gone. And during that time, I think he left right before news of coronavirus. He left right before then. And then he came back from the silent retreat. He wasn't around anybody. It's funny because it reminded me of a Black Mirror episode that, what's his name, Topher Grace is in. And he's away on this silent retreat, and somehow someone finds him, tries to get him out of it for some reason. So Jared Leto comes back, and all of a sudden, everyone's in quarantine. There's a coronavirus that's just hit, and there's all that. He goes from complete serenity, living in a reality, in his own reality. The only reality that actually truly matters is the one that you're carrying with you wherever you go. That's the one that matters. Remember what we were talking about earlier about mattering. That's the one that's mattering. What's in that little ecosystem that you're moving around in there? What is that information? So we're talking about the you are what you eat type of thing. So you take in the information, take in the sounds, take in the how's that now being influenced through the stuff that you're creating. So, God, it's so interesting. And then how's that? And then what's happening there with the people that you're talking with? So, You can attract large crowds of people with positivity. You can attract large crowds of people who are excited and just want to dance and just want to have fun. Like, what if this suddenly was just like dance-a-thon? Let's just dance. Let's just dance. LJD. Let's do it. LDI, LJD. And that becomes this big thing. Okay, everybody, let's feel good. Proving to others that we're not bad people by becoming a stereotype of the people that we think are bad is not going to help our matters. And then it's, how do we do that? We show the opposite side of the spectrum. It's like if I feel, this is probably maybe why I got a Napoleon complex. I was made fun of a lot for being short. I was made fun of a lot for being short. And it's funny because I heard it so much that it became like commonplace, but then it was like, it's like when someone's nagging you and yelling at you and yelling at you and yelling at you and yelling at you for a long time, then you're just like, okay, now I'm tuning them out. That would happen with my mom. After a while, I'm like, okay, I get it. And then she keeps going, and then all of a sudden I'd suddenly become very sarcastic and just like really patronizing, But after a while, you're just like, okay, eh. And then after a while, I've just tuned her out entirely. And it didn't help her matters, and it didn't help my matters, because I wasn't hearing what she had to say, and the message she was trying to get through wasn't going to me. So I think I heard being, you're short, so many times throughout my life. It just was something that maybe at an early age, without realizing it, I could redefine. I had the power to redefine how I felt about it. And then once, then maybe there was something subconsciously that maybe gave me that Napoleon complex. Was it that? Was it hearing, oh, you're short? It's so interesting. I don't know if I ever told this story behind me. Growing up on 321 Arrowhead Trail in Carroll Stream, Illinois, northwest suburb of Chicago, the gate faced the backyards of other people. And some of these people had gates around the yards, and some of these people didn't. I remember for the longest time there were no gates around our yards. But then people started getting dogs, and that's when we started putting the gates. But there was no fence around anybody's yard. It was crazy. No fence. And it was the best for hide and seek. It was so great. You could just run. It was great. No gates. We ended up getting a gate because we got a dog, so we put up this gate. And there were these girls. Okay, so their backyards, there were no fences. I should stop saying gate. It's a fence, really. When I imagine a gate, I imagine one of those things like up in the Hollywood Hills where it's like in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where it goes up to the Tate House. These are fences. Fences. Chain link fences.
Which I used to have fun trying to balance on. Oh my God, that's beside the point though. But I'd see how long I could walk on those fences, balancing on this thing. One time I fell off and I impaled my leg with a branch on a tree. But that's beside the point. So one of the houses, one of the backyards that faced us was a house belonging to the Baylogs. And I always thought that was kind of funny, how Baylogs was kind of like Kellogg's. Baylogs. And they grew up without a TV. They grew up without a TV. Huh. And there were girls, three daughters. I think there were one or two sons. And so this is relating to the short comment I made earlier. So these girls would come over. They were taller than me. And they go, Curdy, Curdy, Curdy. I just remember this. Curdy, Curdy. Curdy, Curdy. And then there'd be girls, tall girls at school who would make fun of me because I was short. And I feel bad, but I remember just walloping them. One of them, Debbie McClelland. I can't believe I remember her name. Then there was Melissa Etchins. Millie Etchins. Millie. Who's the other tall one? I remember jumping up. I was so short, I jumped in the sky and punched her in the face. Because these girls were just making fun of me. But as kids they probably, they probably liked me. Little kids make fun of each other when they like each other. They hit each other. Yeah, that's their way of flirting. But they like each other. But they don't want to admit it. I wonder what would happen if we admitted it, that we liked that girl. I like that girl. Joanne Lang. So, yeah, Joanne Lang. She was my elementary school crush. That continued on and off throughout high school. Wow. What is she up to? Huh. Wow, it's crazy the names you remember. When you go down memory lane, dive deep. So, being short. So it eventually just kind of got muffled. And so if people would make short jokes, it's crazy because I've always had taller friends. And maybe this is why I walk so fast, because when a taller person walks, they can walk slower. They can walk slow. And yet a short person is still, maybe 5 steps to their 2 steps. So I had tall friends. Chuck Plath is one of them. So there are very few friends where I felt it was Newskis. They were taller than me. I think Steve Zabel was. I think Alan Panicle might be. Eric Kleinberg is. My brother is. Josh is. So everyone around me's been taller, but it's funny because I haven't felt shorter than them. I didn't feel that they had any. I saw my advantages where they had disadvantages. I saw where they had advantages where I had disadvantages, where I might need a chair to reach what's up in the cabinet. They just go, oh yeah, I'll grab that cereal. It's funny, Tommy now in Yachtly Crew is the tallest dude. And we'll be like, Tommy, can you please screw this thing in? Can you help us with that? He's like, what, because I'm tall? Now I realize I think my next reply is no, because I'm short. I love it. No, because I'm short. What? Because I'm tall. What? Because I'm tall. No, because I'm short. No, because I'm short. Oh, what? Because I'm tall. No, because I'm short. Maybe shorter people. This is my theory, because you're always looking up at tall people. Maybe part of the reason why maybe some of our, like we speak in the higher register, is because we're looking up all the time. So that's how our vocal cords are kind of, they're up. So maybe there's subconsciously in my brain, there's something to prove. Is there something to prove? Is there something I gotta prove? You know, that's an interesting thing, that idea of having something to prove. I got to prove it to these people that I can do it just as good as them. I'm Norwegian. I feel marginalized. I feel there, people making fun of it, and I want to show everybody that Norwegians. There are good ones. We do good stuff, and so this is my mission. I got something to prove, and then that becomes my torch that I'm carrying throughout everything that I'm doing. Yeah, well, I'm Norwegian, so So then that goes to my go-to thing. That becomes my identity. That becomes my go-to thing. That becomes the thing that I'm constantly resting on. And then what happens when the rug is pulled out from under me, and I find out, wait, I'm not Norwegian. And then I end up finding out that I was adopted, and then that the people who raised me, they told me that, because they were Norwegian, they told me I was Norwegian. So I've been associating with this particular identity for so long and feeling these phantom pains of what my Norwegian, or was it just simply empathy? Was it simply empathy? Did I actually truly feel whatever my Norwegian brethren and sistren went throughout all the years? Do I truly feel that, or did I just simply feel an empathy for a culture I was choosing to identify with at that time? It's interesting. I was watching online. There were these racist guys getting their DNA tested. Then they end up finding that they have roots, like Nigerian root. They have bits of just these various dark-skinned cultures. And he finds out that that's one of his ethnicities. That he can associate with that. So now, what happens then? There's that rug pulled out from underneath you. Why is that? Because we put hopes, we put arguments, we put energy, we gamble on this specific, particular identity, going, this is the one that's winning. This is the one that's right. This is the one that's got to be the thing that, that everyone's got to give a consideration for now. And then what happens when that's a whoop? Whoa. There was, it's shocking when we learn information, actual real life information, when we do our own research, and not from some biased, not from some hyped up news stuff that's giving us statistics and all that jazz of what is and what isn't. I'm talking about just really, okay, what go down the rabbit hole on this, and you end up finding very surprising stuff. I saw videos where it's now 3:12 a.m. 17th. Gonzo was put to sleep yesterday. So what's so crazy is that Jenny started hearing this little meow, meow outside the window. And then she and I went out there and we found this little calico cat. And it was crying. So it's in the bathroom now. So it's quite interesting how it arrived just when it did. It's 3:46 a.m. Same date, June 17th. I decided to make myself a little snack in the kitchen. And this absurd idea came to me, like, imagine a guy, so let's say this dude, has been talking, perfect English to the authorities. They could find him, they could understand him perfectly. But when it comes time for the court date, he only speaks in gibberish. And he requires that his lawyer translate his gibberish. Like, how do you know he's not speaking a language only his lawyer can understand? It's like it's gibberish. So what if they create their own language? It'd be so funny. Anything can get lost with a translator. Butter on toast. Or butter on toast. I just mentioned a good way to get out of this, dude, is to tell them that, look, unless the lawyers talk regular English, regular talk, I'm going to speak gibberish the whole time. Every time a lawyer talks, I'm going to be speaking gibberish. So trust me, you don't want me in there. You don't want me in there. Loud sirens just went off, loud sirens, and then the sound of a motorcycle taking off big time. So interesting. All these peculiar sounds that have been happening lately.
This is Stew Strauss, the woodsman, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.